Hey guys, I'm Mimi and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video because I'm about to show you guys every book on my physical TBR. I might be putting myself out there because I have a lot of books on my physical TBR, but I just thought it would be fun to show all the books that I have just waiting to be read on my physical TBR, and they live on my lovely TBR cart. I do have a lot of books, so not all of them fit on here, so I do use this last shelf on my bookshelf for any extra TBR books that I have that just don't fit on my TBR cart. But for the most part, at least I'm able to separate all of the books that I haven't read to all of the books that I have read. So all of the books on my actual bookshelves have been read, so any of the ones that I haven't read are just usually sitting on this bottom shelf here. So yeah, let's get to talking about all the books on my physical TBR. So the first book I have is actually a new release. It's An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson. This is like a perfect fall October read. It has to do with like a magic school and someone getting a letter saying that they've been accepted into like the school of magic, and I think that just sounds great. I read a different book by the same author and I really liked it. So I'm excited to read this one and see how this one compares to the other one. The next book on my physical TBR is Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. This is a horror book and it follows an 8-year-old girl. I don't really know what this is about. It's like super popular right now. So many people have been talking about this book. And of course, given that it's October, I had to get this book to read, especially closer to Halloween time, because I love to read spooky, scary stories. So I'm hoping this one's going to be really good. I've heard a lot of great things. I'm super excited to just get into like a scary mood. So the next book I have is Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. This book was actually gifted to me by a friend, so I don't actually know a lot about it aside from that it follows a real estate agent who's a vampire and a medium. I think they both are trying to get rid of like a poltergeist from a haunted house or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but I've heard a lot of great things about Olivia Blake's writing, and this will be my first book by them. And it's also just another book that's like perfect for October because it has to do with vampires and a medium and poltergeists and a haunted house, and all of that just screams Halloween, scary, spooky season, read. So I'm really excited to get to this one. The next book I have is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kleiwer. I am so excited to read this book. I've heard so many great things about this one, and the general basis that I know of this book is that there's a couple that lives in this house, and this family shows up one day and is like, hey, I used to live here, can we check it out? And they just never leave. So something about that is just terrifying. It's giving me the Strangers vibes for some reason, because it's not supernatural scary. It's no, this could literally happen, and it's just adds like an element of creepy because it's more realistic creepy than it is like paranormal supernatural creepy. So I'm so excited to get to this. The next book I have is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. This is just another witchy vibe book that is just perfect for October. Yeah, I'm excited to read this one, and I'm excited to get back into fantasy. I feel like I haven't read a fantasy book in a long time, so I'm excited for this one. Next is one that I've had on my physical TBR for honestly just too long. It's Alice Hoffman's Magic Lessons. I was so excited to read this when I picked it up, but then I get into the habit of buying other books that I end up forgetting about the ones that I have sometimes, which is like so bad. I've been putting this off just because whenever I do want to pick it up, it's never the right time, because this, Magic Lessons, it's like Halloween, it's like October vibes, and I really want to read it in October. So I do plan to get to this one hopefully this month, but this one I'm so excited for. I love the movie Practical Magic, and I think this is the prequel. Yeah, this is the prequel to Practical Magic, so I'm excited to see what happened before the movie. So, and granted, I've never read the book. I've only seen the movie, but I'm hoping I really enjoy this, so I'm excited. The next book I have is one that I've just been wanting to get to for such a long time now, and it's been on my TBR for at least a year, which is like, come on. But it's The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I'm just so excited to get to this one. As I've said in many times, it's supposed to be very similar to one of my favorite books, If We Were Villains. So that just makes me so excited to read it, and I hope I love it. The next book on my physical TBR is Cackle by Rachel Harrison. This is just another witchy, spooky-ish, vibey book that is going to be perfect for the fall season. I picked it up because it's super short. It's going to be such a quick read, and I think it'll just put me in the October spooky season mood. So I hope I get to it this month. The next book I have is The Haunting of Maddie Clare by Simone St. James. I think this one is going to be like haunted house. I don't know. I think it has to do with ghosts and stuff, so obviously I want to try and get to this one in October, but I'm just excited. I really enjoy her writing, and I think it's gonna be just a great spooky season read. So, and actually by the same author, I have The Broken Girls as well, which is, I think, takes place in like a school. They call it a hauntingly gothic, suspenseful crime drama, which just sounds so fun. The next book I have is The World's Favorite Ghost Stories, which, do I even need to explain? Spooky season, October, going to put me into the mood. I hope it's good. I haven't heard anyone talk about this, so I'm excited to just plunge into some scary stories. I think there's 13 of them. I think, how perfect would it be to read a story a night before Halloween comes for like 13 days? That sounds great. So I'm really excited for this, and I just really hope that they're good. The next book I have is called The Witchway Tree by Elizabeth Crook. I do think that this is a historical fiction, but I think it reads like a little mystery. It says the odyssey of a tenacious young girl who braves the dangers of the Texas frontier to avenge her mother's death. I'm not sure. This was actually gifted to me by a friend, so I actually hadn't even heard of this book, so I really have no idea what this is about. But yeah, I'm excited to read this. Another fiction book that I could just add to my list of books that'll fit like a fall-esque mood. Although it takes place in Texas, which is also just like hot, so maybe it's actually a summer vibey book, but who knows. Next I have Rebecca Ross's Ruthless Vows. This is the second book to Divine Rivals. It's a duology. I honestly haven't picked this one up because I just haven't been in the mood for it. I read Divine Rivals and I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it as much as a lot of people did. So I did pick up the second book because I read the first one, so of course I want to finish the duology. But I'm just like in no rush to read this. But it just essentially follows 2 weeks after the first book ends. It picks up like 2 weeks later, and that's what this story follows. I'm interested to see how this one wraps it up. Hopefully I'll pick it up soon. I definitely think that this will be like a book I get to maybe in the winter time, but another book that is on my physical TBR. The next book I have is Karen Slaughter's Girl Forgotten. So I actually got this book, I think as a gift from a friend. I don't remember. But I know I've had this book for a while, but I haven't read it because it's the second book following Pieces of Her. Let me fact check that real quick. Yeah, Pieces of Her. So this one follows Pieces of Her. I haven't read that. So I obviously haven't read this one yet. Hopefully I get to read Pieces of Her first, and then I'll get to this one. The next book I have is Lady Tan's Circle of Women by Lisa C. This book was actually gifted to me, and it's a historical fiction. I really don't know a lot about it. It says, Lady Tan's Circle of Women is a captivating story of women helping other women. It is also a triumphant reimaging of the life of a woman who was remarkable in the Ming Dynasty and would be considered remarkable today. So, I don't know, it sounds good. Like I said, I really do enjoy historical fiction, and this cover is just wow. So, the next book I have is Lucy Foley's The Paris Apartment. This book I got as like my last attempt to really see if I really like this author's writing. I'm hoping this is good. It takes place in Paris. If I don't really like this one, I think this might be the last book I actually buy from this author because I just don't think they're for me, which is totally fine. Hopefully I can get to this one soon. The next book I have is The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark. This one is supposed to be like a thriller mystery. It says, The Lies I Tell is a twisted domestic thriller that dives deep into the psyches and motivations of two women and their unwavering quest to seek justice for the past and rewrite the future. So, I don't know. Sounds like it could be really interesting. This one has been on my TBR for a while, so I hope I can get to this one soon. The next book I have is Reckless by Lauren Roberts. This is the second book to the Powerless series. I just haven't had a chance to get to it yet. It came out, I think, around the summertime, and I was just not in a fantasy mood in the summer. So now that it's fall and I'm in fantasy again, hopefully I'll get to this one soon. There is a third book coming out, so I think maybe I'll read it closer to when that one comes out. I haven't decided, but I am excited to get to this eventually. The next book I have is First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. I don't know a whole lot about this one. I think it follows I don't want to say that she's like a hitman, but maybe a hitman. I'm still not 100% sure what this is about, but I love the cover. I think the woman in it is just so creepy, and I've heard really great things about this one, so I'm excited to read this. The next book I have is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I'm actually really excited to get to this one, and I hope I get to it this month or next month, like sometime in the fall time. But honestly, I'm excited for this because I think there's like a podcast element to this one, and I have recently discovered that I love a thriller mystery that has a podcast element to it. I feel like it just adds so much to the story. The last one I listened to was Listen for the Lie. I absolutely love that one, and I did also listen to the audio for it, so listening to the audio just added just like something to it because it's like very transcripty, but it feels like you're listening to a podcast. I don't know, something about it was just so good. So I'm hoping this one gives me like very similar vibes to Listen for the Lie, because I truly enjoyed that one, and I'm hoping I enjoy this one too. I also really like Lisa Jewell's writing, so of course can't wait to get to this one. So hopefully get to this one soon. The next book I have is Guild by Raven Kennedy. This book has been on my physical TBR for I can't even tell you how long. It's honestly just so sad. I've heard a lot of great things about this series, but about this book specifically, I've heard you kind of just need to get through this one in order to get to the rest of the books, because the rest of the books are apparently where the story gets like really good. And I mean, there's a lot of series that are like that, but the thought of having to push through one book because it's not that great to get to the other books that are great has just put me off so much that I just have not reached for this one. And I also just don't know when I'm going to get to it because I just have no interest in it right now. I do hope to eventually get to this, because if I don't, I honestly think I just might unhaul it, because if I haven't read it now and I've had this book for so long, I might honestly never get to it. I don't know, we'll see, but this one is on my TBR. The next book I have is Heart of the Sun Warrior by Su Lin Tan. This is the second book to the Daughter of the Moon Goddess series, and I really enjoyed that one, and I honestly just can't wait to get to this one. I just haven't picked it up because summertime, I just wasn't in the mood. Now that it's fall and I'm in the fantasy mood again, I'm hoping to pick this one up soon because I really enjoyed the first one, so I'm hoping that this one is just as good. The next book has been on my physical TBR for so long that it's just like another guild, honestly. This one is the Zodiac Academy. I just don't even know where to begin with this. I've heard that the series is so bad that it's good almost. And apparently you have to get to the first two books to really get into the nitty-gritty of it. And it's the same thing with Guild. I'm just like, do I really want to push through one or two books for a series to finally get good? I don't know, but I do want to get to this one soon though, because I just mainly want to see what this is about. I mainly just want to understand why people really like this and why there are so many books in this series. And I don't know. Hopefully I can get to it soon though. I feel like October would be the perfect time to read it, but I do have a lot of books that I want to get to in October, so I really don't know if I'm going to get to this one this month. But it is on my physical TBR. I hope to get to it soon. The next three books that I have are actually part of a series. They're all by Darcy Coates. It's called Secrets in the Dark, Whispers in the Mist, and Silence in the Shadows. These three books are part of her Black Winter series. I read the first one last winter and the story was just so crazy. I absolutely cannot wait to get to these. These are all horror, I think they're classified as horrors and then thrillers. I remember enjoying the first one, and I heard that the series just gets better, so of course I got all the books. I actually bought the whole series at the same time because my Barnes was closing, so they were having like a sale. I'm excited to read these because I heard great things about the rest of the books in the series, so I honestly just can't wait. The next book I have is Throttled by Lauren Asher. I really thought I wanted to read another series by Lauren Asher after I read the fine print, but honestly, I've heard such mixed reviews about this. I think, yeah, it's called the Dirty Air series. I've just heard so many mixed reviews on this series that I just like don't know if I'm gonna like it. So it's kind of like put me off from wanting to read it. If I don't get to it soon, I'll probably unhaul it. The next book I have is The Confidence of Wildflowers. I got this book so long ago that I couldn't even tell you what it's about anymore. I remember a friend of mine read this and absolutely loved it, and I was like, oh, I'll pick it up. And I just never read it. So I think this has been on my TBR for at least 2 years now, which is ridiculous. At the top and the front, it says, I was 18, he was 31. We were worlds apart, but right next door. The temptation was too much. So this is obviously an age gap. What the heck? Will I pick this up? Who knows? It's been on my TBR for so long. And I don't know if age gap is like a romance I'm really drawn to. So I just don't even know if I'd enjoy this that much because 18 and 31, that's a little weird. So I don't know if I'll get to this one. Honestly, if I don't get to it, I'm probably going to unhaul it at this point. The next two books I have are by the same author too. And I think it's like a duology, but it's by Sophie Lark. And it's There Are No Saints and There Is No Devil. I picked this up like maybe a year ago or something. I don't know. I picked these two books up mainly because I also thought the covers were just so cool. And I love how they like just go together. But I don't know. We'll see if I honestly get to these because dark romance isn't my first choice. But I have heard like these two books are pretty good. So I don't know. We'll see. But I do have these on my TBR if I'm ever in the mood for a dark romance. The next book I have is The Bear and the Nightingale, which I've heard so many great things about. It's by Catherine Arden. I think it's like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but all I know is that I'm saving this for winter because, first of all, it just looks like winter on the cover, and this will just be like the perfect book for that season, and I've heard great things about it, so I'm excited for a little retelling because I love Beauty and the Beast. Oh yeah, it says a beautiful deep winter story full of magic and monsters and the sharp edges of growing up. Sounds nice, so I'm excited to get to this one in the wintertime. The next book I have is Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. I'm actually excited to get to this one because I read a different book by him and it was All the Light We Cannot See, and I loved that book, so I'm really excited to read another one by him. And honestly, this book has just like, I've heard such great things about it. I think it's just fiction, or it might be like fantasy fiction, but I'm really excited to get to this one. So it is a pretty long book, but I hope I love it because like I said, I really liked his other books, so excited for that one. The next book I have is Ali Hazelwood's newest release, Not in Love. Honestly, I've just been putting this one off because I'm terrified to read it. I've heard so many mixed reviews, so I'm hoping to get to it soon, but I don't know. I just haven't had any interest in reading it, but I am excited because Ali Hazelwood's writing is just so good. But I'm excited to get to this one and hopefully soon because I could use another Ali Hazelwood romance in my life. The next book I have is Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. I don't know when I'm going to get to this, but I am excited because I really enjoyed the first one, so I'm hoping to also enjoy this second one. The next book on my list is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I really want to get to this one soon, but I'm just waiting for winter. But I really want to get to it because she released 2 other books that are like a part of like this series. I think it's like interconnected. I really want to get the other 2 books. I think it's like called Wildfire and then the other one's called Daydream. And I think Daydream recently just came out like last month or something. So I really want to get to this one, but I'm, like I said, just waiting for winter. Next I have Kennedy Ryan's This Could Be Us. I absolutely loved her first book and I honestly cannot wait to get to this one. This one just came out recently. I just haven't read it because I just wasn't really in the mood for it. I'm hoping I really love this one too. The next book I have is Misery by Stephen King. I picked up Misery because One, it's short compared to a lot of Stephen King's books. Why are his books so long? Two, because I really want to read a Stephen King book to see if I like him. A lot of people love Stephen King, and I just kind of want to know what the hype is. So I picked up Misery. I figured this would be a good book to read in the wintertime because I think it literally takes place in the dead of winter. So this one is the one I decided to go with. So that one's on my TBR. The next book I have is Bear Town by Frederick Bachman. I'm honestly just excited to read another one from him. I read Anxious People 2 or 3 years ago, maybe even more, and I really enjoyed it, but I hadn't picked up another book by him, so I'm really excited to get into another one. The next book I have is a novel love story by Ashley Poston. I've been putting this off just because I'm so nervous to get to it and read it and find out that I don't like it, because I've heard a lot of mixed reviews on this and I'm just really nervous that I'm just not gonna like it. Her other 2 books are some of my favorite romance books, especially since she does like magical realism just so well in romances. So I essentially just need to find out for myself if I like it or not. So this one's there. The next book I have is Love Interest by Claire Gilmore. I've heard just so many great things about this one, and I just picked it up because I was looking for a romance to read and I saw it. So I was like, oh, let me give this one a try, but I just never got to it. So hopefully I get to this one soon. I think it's like a workplace romance / enemies to lovers, which just sounds so fun. And I think it'll just be a fun little romance for if I need a palate cleanser or something. So the next book I have is Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. I just love Elsie Silver. Her writing is just so good. And this is her first series. So I could use more Elsie Silver, and I'm just curious to see how her writing has changed from like this series to like her most recent Wild Love, Wild Eye series. But I don't know when I'm gonna get to this because it is like a cowboy romance and it's called the Gold Rush Ranch series. So I just don't know if I want to read this in the winter fall season or if I want to wait till springtime. I don't know, but this is on my TBR in case I ever do want to read it. Next up, I have Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. This series I have heard great things about, which is a complete 180 from Throttled. So hopefully I get to this one soon. And I think there's a second book that just recently came out as well. I don't remember the name of it though. But I am excited to get to this one. I've heard great things about the series. The only thing putting me off is that why is a romance book literally like 600 pages? There's an epilogue and then an extended epilogue. Like, why do we need so much? So, I don't know. I've been putting it off because this is hefty and I just don't know how you can fit so much information in a romance. So, I don't know. We'll see, but this is on my list. The next book I have is The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery by Gabrielle Zevin. This one I honestly picked up because Tomorrow was a 5-star read for me. I absolutely love that book, and I just wanted to read another book by this author to see what their writing is like in other books. And this one's also just like super short. I think it's like less than 300. It's 260 pages, so it should be a quick read, and I'm really excited. So the next book I have is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I picked this one up because I came across it on my Goodreads. It was like a recommended book for me. So I clicked in it and I just thought the concept of this book was just so fun. It follows like 4 friends that live in this retirement village and they all get together to essentially discuss like unsolved crimes. And I just thought that was so fun. The next book I have is Violetta by Isabel Allende. This book actually was recommended to me by a friend, so I picked it up solely because she recommended it to me, and she absolutely loved it, so I was like, okay, well, I have to read it. It's like a fiction / nonfiction, I believe. I don't really know a lot about it. I'm excited to get to this one because, like I said, my friend highly recommended it, so I have to see what the hype is. The next book I have is My Murder by Katie Williams. This one essentially like follows this woman who gets murdered by a serial killer, but somehow she's given like a second chance at life, and she has to essentially figure out why she died. And I don't know, something about this just seemed super interesting, and I'm kind of curious as to how this is gonna play out. I picked it up, and hopefully it's good. I don't know when I'll get to this though, but hopefully soon. The next book I have is Kristen Hanna's The Four Winds. This one I honestly had for like about a year or 2 now. I just haven't gotten to it, mainly because I just haven't been in the mood for it. But I'm hoping to get to it soon just because I really do enjoy Kristen Hanna's writing and I've heard so many great things about this book. So I am hoping to get to it soon because it's been on my TBR for a really long time and I just want to get to it sooner rather than later. So that one's also there. And the last book on my physical TBR, Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I've just been putting it off because it's so long and I've also just heard that it's just not as great following Fourth Wing. So I don't know. There is another book coming out called Onyx Storm. So I hope to get to this one soon just so I can be prepared for the next release. But I am in no rush to get to this, quite honestly. It's so long and I'm just not in the mental space yet to put myself through a book this long. So I just haven't done it. But hopefully I get to it soon because I need to just be done with it already. So this is the last book on my physical TBR. Yay! So that is it. Those are all the books that are on my physical TBR. I actually have 48 books on my physical TBR. I really hope to put a dent in it by the end of the year, but I would love to know if you guys have read any of the books that are on my physical TBR. Which ones do you recommend that I read? Because I need to know which ones I need to prioritize. But yeah, let me know down below if you've read any of these, and let me know any books that are on your physical TBR because I love buying books and I would love to add more. So if you have any book recommendations for me, share them down below. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye!